guys, welcome back to my channel. I am back with another review. This review is for Love and Hip Hop Atlanta season 11 episode 5. So if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. So much went down in this episode and there's so much to talk about, so let's just get right into this review. Now, at the very beginning of this episode, Spice is practicing for her performance in the Cayman Islands, and she ends up getting a visit from Shekinah, who wants to talk about what went down between Spice and Mita at Carly's daughter's gender reveal party. Now, Spice and Mita ended up getting into it really bad at the gender reveal party because Spice feels some type of way about Mita, who was supposed to be her best friend, spending so much time with Carly, even though she knows that Spice and Carly are no longer cool. But I can see both sides of the argument. Mita doesn't want to get involved in drama that doesn't have anything to do with her, because if Carly and Spice end up getting cool again, then where does that leave her? Because she got involved in something that didn't have anything to do with her. But I can also see Spice's side of the argument, where if you're supposed to be my best friend and you're hanging around with somebody who I don't get along with anymore, now I have to be careful about you because I don't know what you're saying about me, and I also don't know if you're telling her my business. And so I can see both sides of the argument. I'm just glad that Jasmine was not at the party yet when the two of them were arguing, because this was supposed to be her special day, and if she was there, it probably would have ruined it. In this episode, Jessica White ends up getting rushed to the hospital because she was having severe stomach pains and she was having really bad nausea and this pain in her leg. When she gets to the hospital, she ends up realizing that she actually has fibroids, and this upsets her because she feels like this is the reason why she was having miscarriages when she was in a relationship with Nick Cannon, and she feels like the doctors were really neglectful to her because she said that she had brought these symptoms to doctors' attention before and they made it seem like there was nothing wrong with her. And you have to really be on these doctors' necks when it comes to them checking you properly, when it comes to things that could be wrong with you, because you know your body better than anybody else and you know if something's wrong and something's off. And so don't let them tell you that there's nothing wrong with you, especially if they didn't properly check you to actually make sure there wasn't anything wrong with you. Now, she says that she's upset because she was having miscarriages and now she has to see Nick Cannon having these babies with all these other women, and I can understand her being hurt by that. I really truly can, but maybe it wasn't meant for her to be with Nick Cannon in the long run, and maybe it wasn't meant for her to have a child with him. Now, after that really dramatic family meeting that Amy and her sisters had with their mother in the previous episode, Amy ends up gathering her sisters up and they meet up to have a good time with each other, and they're actually enjoying each other's company and really getting along, and they end up realizing that the reason why they're getting along so well is because their mother is not around. And I feel like that's a harsh revelation to have, but if they realize that they get along better when their mom is not around, then I feel like that's definitely a discussion that they need to have with their mom. And Amy does end up meeting up with her mom later on in this episode, and they end up going out to dinner, and Amy tells her mother that she hired a new management team so that her mom could put more focus on her sisters' careers, because her mom for so long has put more attention on Amy and her businesses that she kind of neglected her sisters' businesses, and that was causing tension between Amy and her sisters. And so she felt like by hiring a new management team, she's making things better in the family, and her mom does not take it well at all, and I can understand her feelings being hurt, but she gets up and she storms away from the table, and I just feel like the mom should just accept the fact that Amy no longer has her as a manager. I feel like if it's best for the family and it's going to cause less drama and less stress on everybody, then I feel like her mom should be okay with it. Now, in this episode, Scrappy ends up going to visit Chaotic so that they can talk about what went down between him and Erica in the previous episode. Now, in the previous episode, Erica ended up showing up to an event where Scrappy was at because he was going to perform, and she ended up pulling him aside to have a conversation about him and Bambi, and she was just prying way too much into their personal life. She was telling him that he needs to fight for his marriage with Bambi, and that, you know, he needs to make sure that they don't get a divorce, and I just felt like she was doing a bit too much. Like, I understand that she's trying to have Bambi's back, but she's making the situation a lot worse. And, you know, she was yelling at him and everything. She had the vein in her forehead and the vein in her neck popping out. She was just doing entirely too much because she's still not healed from the situation between her and Safari. At one point, Scrappy ended up saying that he didn't feel like Bambi was a good wife and Bambi didn't feel like he was a good husband, and this pissed Erica off to the point where she ended up yelling, "Is that why you got Diamond pregnant?" And he was flabbergasted, okay? He just did not understand where this rumor came from, and he doesn't understand why Erica is running with a rumor, because in this episode when he was talking to Chaotic, he said that him and Diamond have not slept together since he's been with Bambi, and he said that yes, she comes into his hotel room when he is on tour, but they haven't slept together, they just talk, and I don't know if I believe that, okay? I don't believe that she's pregnant by Scrappy. I don't believe that at all. I think Mama D made that up because she doesn't like Bambi and she wants this to get back to Bambi, because she knows if Bambi finds out that Scrappy got somebody else pregnant, they're absolutely going to go through with the divorce. But I don't believe that Scrappy and Diamond haven't slept together, but that's just my opinion. Now, at the very end of this episode, Spice and Shekinah are in the Cayman Islands because obviously Spice has a performance there. And so Mita ends up showing up while they're out to dinner because Spice actually invited her to come. And Spice was acting really standoffish towards Mita when Mita arrived at the restaurant. Mita tried to give her a kiss on the cheek at one point and Spice kind of pulled away. But Mita said that she wasn't worried about Spice being upset with her because she feels like Spice's anger is misplaced. That Spice is really upset with Carly, but she's taking it out on her. But I can understand why Spice feels the way she does. I mean, anybody would be standoffish towards one of their friends if their friend was hanging around with somebody that they're no longer cool with. You would obviously not really trust that person anymore, and you wouldn't really know how to feel, so I can understand the way that Spice is acting towards Mita. Now, during this dinner, Shekinah decides that it's best for her to confront Mita right now because she doesn't want to wait until it's time for Spice to perform because she doesn't want to stress her out. And so Shekinah ends up questioning Mita as to why she wouldn't give her any information on how to go visit Spice because Mita was there at the hospital in the Dominican Republic with Spice. Now, Mita says that the reason why she didn't give out any information on Spice and how to go visit her was because Spice's sister told her not to. Now, if that's true, then I feel like Mita did what she was supposed to do, because if the family is saying that they don't want anybody to come visit, then that means that she has to follow what they say. And so I feel like that's something that could easily be cleared up between Shekinah and Mita. But they kind of end up getting into a bit of a back and forth because Shekinah's not really buying it. She feels like Mita didn't tell her any information to come visit Spice because Carly was there and Carly didn't want her to. I feel like Carly probably had ulterior motives, okay? I'm not trying to make Carly the villain all the time, but I feel like Carly wants Spice to feel like she's the only friend that really cares about her. And so when Carly wasn't answering her phone and giving any information out, I feel like it was because she wanted to make it seem like she was the only person who cared enough to be there for Spice. That's just how I feel about the situation with Carly. Spice ends up storming away from the table because she's tired of Shekinah and Mita arguing, and Mita ends up following Spice outside to have a conversation, and the two of them start yelling at each other again because obviously there's a question about loyalty. Spice feels like Mita should be loyal to her, therefore she should not be hanging out and spending a lot of time with Carly, but Mita feels like she has her own problems to worry about too, and that, you know, she is not trying to get involved in anything that doesn't have anything to do with her. They both make good points, and I just feel like they can work this situation out, but I do feel like there's always going to be a little bit of questioning their friendship because I feel like with Spice not being cool with Carly and Mita hanging around with her, and then other friends putting it in her ear that Mita has been acting shady since she's been hanging out with Carly, I just feel like they're going to have to take some time away from each other, or maybe slowly, gradually get their friendship back to the way that it was, because too much has went down between the two of them. But I did think that it was good that the two of them ended up hugging it out at the end. You can tell that they really do care about each other because they were crying and hugging, and they were definitely really passionate about this situation. And so I just hope that the two of them are able to work something out. So those are my thoughts on this week's episode of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all. And until next time, I will talk to you guys in my next video.